we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 100. 100 of the worst possible content a man can suffer through. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you with the 100th episode of My Abuse Hour. Out here running wild, unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So, man, I wanted to have a really high-end piece of work, for the 100th episode and such. But I'll tell you something, man. These holidays, dude, I've mellowed out a little bit on the holiday situation because for a while I was just straight about dude, I hate the holidays. I detest the shit, man. Where everybody wants something. Life is hard enough and there's 1,000 fucking people talking about, oh my gosh, it's going to be the holidays and there's going to be this and this and this and this and I'm going to need from you, here's what I need. And fuck off. All right. But, I'm fucking vintage now and I'm kind of I don't mind so much. And plus now I'm at the age where where family calls and stuff and they're like, we're going to do this and you're going to be there and I want you to dress like a fucking elf or some kind of thing. And I can just be like, I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm not going to be there. I'll bring you a fucking fruitcake or something and you're going to eat it and that's going to be the end of it. No more jackassery. And plus I think people are a little bit too poor now to they want to plan some kind of weird trip, some kind of weird get-together trip with matching sweaters like you're a band of Africans, going to a fucking college reunion or some kind of shit. And nobody can afford that shit anymore. So I don't really have to suffer through it as much. So now, kind of holidays, not so bad, I guess. But still, man, a lot going on, which, back to the original point, really digs into my prep time, as though I put a lot of prep time into what I'm doing anyway. As it happens, there is plenty to talk on without a whole hell of a lot of prep. I want to follow up on the CEO shooter situation, the Luigi Mangione, the Luigi the Adjuster type deal. I want to hit that up real quick because that's I was a little wrong-ish, but I still got some questions, man, that it don't count when it's a fucking, government psyop. And I'm not trying to say for absolute certain, but there is still, to me, a lot of questions that are well, wait a fucking minute here. There's some funny business yet afoot. So I want to get into that a little bit. And then I want to hit on something I came across this morning, this Lily Phillips thing, man. And obviously on the surface, it's not anything. It's just whores being whores. But this Lily Phillips, this Brit-Bong chick that fucked 100 guys in a day. And, at first you would just think yeah, well, all right, whatever. But it seems like there's more to it, so I want to give it some thought and give 2 cents to it. I tell you how you could fix her if you happen to hook up with. Yeah, no, nothing like that. So first, though, the Luigi the Adjuster situation. So following up on the most recent coffee break. If you didn't hear the most recent coffee break, I gave my 2 cents on kind of what I thought at the time before, they came out with a name. I'm not going to say telling you who the guy is who actually did it, but I will say that they came out with a name, they came out with a storyline. And to me, this storyline is pretty fucking flimsy, but by means of recapping kind of what I said at the time before they came out with anything, all they had was a couple of pictures that didn't completely look like the same guy, looked like the guy in different outfits, and then they came out with this deal of, we caught him red-handed, that's how fucking good we are, all right. So I want to kind of give my 2 cents on that, but yeah, the original take that I had was that because the guy did a really solid infill, kept a really low profile, I mean, jumped through a lot of hoops that a lot of people would not have just known to jump through, especially somebody with no kind of experience or training would have probably not thought of. They're like, oh yeah, I need to do it like this. It looked like the guy either had really, really put a lot of time and effort into this or had gotten a lot of help. And then when it came out that he got rolled up in a McDonald's with abs like that, fucking lies. But anyway, when he gets rolled up in a McDonald's with a bag full of evidence and a manifesto and the weapon, and like, come on, man. I mean, you got everything except the list written in lipstick, for crying out loud. So that kind of, it stunk to high heaven. And it's not to say that like somebody can't do something wacky and get rolled up with the evidence. Sure, they can. But my issue was, how did you do the first half of this thing so fucking clean? And there were some questions, you know, of like, why would you do this right in front of the door, right in front of the camera? Why did you have to cycle the weapon like that? There were, you know, there are indicators of like, yeah, this can still be a component of a well put together hit. I mean, not all well put together ops look like that. Like, dude, I tell this story to cats sometimes when they ask, like, hey, Coffee, tell a really cool fucking story. I'm like, I'll tell you a fucking cool story. Here's how it goes at the heavy hitter level. I'll tell you what, dude, I'll say it this way. I got to run at the tier 1 level for a very brief period. And I'll say it this way, like a military career in a lot of ways, it can be like, you know, a gig at fucking Hewlett Packard or whatever, where you get the gig, you show up, you have good years, you have bad years, you fucking spend your decades, whatever, and then you fucking retire. A military career can be exactly that way. A military in special ops can be exactly that way. At the tier 1 level, though, it's very much like being in the pros. Like, you got to be in your prime, on your game, trained up, ready to rock. It should be like the pros, but just like the pros, you see, you know, some of the wazoo shit that could go on, like on a sports ball field or some kind of thing sometime, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, that's as good as it gets. And like, yeah, that's as good as it gets. So I mean, I was on some hits where like we drove by the target house like 3 different fucking times. So, you know, a lot of these deals are like, we're not fucking going if we don't have at least 2 different ways of knowing that, like, yeah, this is the place that we want to go to, or the guy that we're looking for is actually here, you know. And now you've got guys that are supposed to be shit hot, like navigating. Like, there's a guy driving, right, and then there's a guy navigating, and he's got, I mean, this was years back, so I ain't handing you any inside baseball secret squirrel shit, but the guy's sitting there with the fucking laptop and the GPS is running, so you're like, all right, we're going up here, and there should be a road, and now we're going here, we're going there. This guy knows exactly, you know, theoretically, should know exactly where you're going. So we're cruising, and like, yeah, I think oh fuck, we drove by the house. Okay. But now you got this huge fucking convoy of hitters, and you got everything from like up armored vehicles. This was back when we had to take the local, I mean, even at the tier 1 level, dude, you got to bring like locals with, dude. You got to bring the, you know, the domestic version of their, you know, special ops. And in their case, special is like hockey helmets and fucking safety goggles. Like, hey, don't put an eye out, dipshit, you know. But you got these jokers too. But man, we drive by a target house and you're like, fuck, you know, you don't know what's going on now. I mean, it's kind of hard to miss, you know, at 3 a.m. when like a whole long ass line of up armored and fucking Hiluxes go rolling by. You're like, God damn it, man. So you pull up here and now you got to jippy jop around, and usually, you know, at that level, you're going to have reverse procedures, and that could be anything from everybody stops and then everybody backs up to the left, or everybody backs up to the right, or, you know, everybody's going to go up here and we're going to go around the turnaround and just go back the other way. Whatever we're going to do, man, we're going to do something. It's going to be fucking organized. You can get back going the other way so it's not a giant dick dance out here. But instead, man, it's like a fucking Chinese fire drill, and like, bap, bap, bap. There's cars fucking everywhere. People are going every which way. You get kind of reconstituted, but you're not in the same fucking order. So, like, you know, I mean, you try to plan everything down to the gnat's ass and, like, you know, get it all going the same fucking way and make it function properly. We get it going back the other way, and then we drive by the fucking place again. And you're like, what the fuck? And dudes are like, just motherfucker, everybody fucking relax, dude. And like, man, what kind of circus act is this? So we finally get situated, pull up to this house. Everything's all fucked up. Everything's all jumbled up. Get out there, do the fucking thing. And the policy was, at the time, in the place that I was in, was that, like, you know, in most parts of the world, people have ID. They have some form of ID, you know. But this place, at this time, people didn't. And sometimes people would have ID, and sometimes all you had to do to get an ID was, like, go into the local, you know, authority, government ID office, and I'm being like deliberately vague here, and you could go in there with somebody that says that they're like your father or your grandfather or your uncle or some shit that like vouches for you, and they have an ID, and it's like, okay. Like, I had this local dude tell me that, like, yeah, I could take you, we could get an ID right now. I mean, if I have an ID and I say that you're my, you know, whatever, like my brother left and went to America, and he had a kid, and that kid had a kid, you know, and everybody hooked up with an American, and now here's you. They don't have a choice, really. They gotta fucking say, like, it doesn't matter. This guy's, you know, looks like the Aryan phenotype. He's still, you know, whatever, fucking shit Canistan fucking native. So we got to give him an ID. He's like, you can get one right now if you want. I'm like, I do not want. I got a lot of problems. I don't need that problem too. Like, why the fuck do you have this, right? So, you know, sometimes people would have IDs. A lot of times they wouldn't, but you go on these targets, and sometimes there'll be vehicles. And a lot of times what would happen is they'll get like these farmers, and they'll be like, hey, fuckstick, you know, we're going to either give you like a year's pay, and we're going to leave a car and some weapons and shit here, and my boy's going to come around in a few days and pick it up, and you can be cool with that and get paid, or I can cut your head off. How does that sound? And these farmers are like, they're just fucking farmers, man. They're like, shit, fine, here, shit, leave whatever you want. You know, so you go to these places, and sometimes you'll roll up some cat in a tracksuit, and everybody kind of can see. Like, you can see, like, that guy over there that's never brushed his teeth a day in his life, and his hands look like fucking catcher's mitts. Like, that guy, he ain't fucking anybody, dude. He isn't a heavy hitter. He's just some shithead from out in the bush, right? But now you got this asshole over here in a tracksuit, and you're like, and who the fuck is this? And, you know, the guy is trying to do the best he can. You know, he wants to dime him out, but, you know, he also doesn't want to get fucked with, so he's like, my cousin? Cousin how? Like, cousin from what? Like, your brother's kid or some shit? Fuck. And he's like, I don't know. You know, when you ask him, then you ask his wife, then you ask his obvious kid, like, what's going on here? Nobody's got the same story. It's obviously Mr. Tracksuit is fucking around. So if there's like a vehicle that obviously Mr. Tracksuit is going with, like, you're getting the free ride in the back of the truck, right? But if Mr. Tracksuit had a vehicle with him, you know, I don't know, you know, if I'm being fair, I don't know if he rolled up and snatched up Farmer Bob's, you know, car, his sedan or whatever, and was cruising it around. I don't know if he brought his own. The fuck are you doing, you sketchy bitch? You know, I don't know what's going on, so I got to try to unfuck this before I do anything wacky, right? So I'll ask, you know, the fucking farmer, you know, I'll ask fucking Mr. Tracksuit, like, hey, shithead, is this your car with all the maps of, you know, buildings and shit in the back of it? Oh, fuck you, I don't know something you're talking about, you know. Obviously, he's not going to tell me shit. But, you know, I go and ask the farmer, like, hey, you know, if you got ID or if you got documents for this vehicle, and the guy's like, you know, I don't have ID, man. What the fuck? Obviously, Mr. Tracksuit ain't rocking an ID, and this vehicle ain't got any paperwork in it. So I'm like, all right, look, if nobody can tell me whose fucking car this is, this car's getting burned up. And they'll be like, the farmer's standing there like, I mean, what can I do, right? And Mr. Tracksuit is standing there with his eyes kind of darting around like, well, the boss ain't going to be happy, but it ain't my car, so I don't personally give a fuck. I'm like, all right, you get your ass in the truck, Farmer Bob, go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to fucking fire this thing up. So the way we would do this shit, man, is and again, this ain't no inside baseball, is just, you know, easy day. Fucking, there's probably, I wonder if there's probably videos of this someplace. It's pretty fucking cool. But basically denying these people some of their assets, we take a thermite grenade, and it's not like a kaboom grenade. It's just a grenade that, like, you pull the pin and you got like 2 seconds before this thing kicks off, and it just burns like really, really fucking hot. So you could set it like on the hood of a car and it'll burn straight through the fucking engine. Like, this thing is no fucking joke. So the idea here is we, you know, break the window out of the car, because you don't want to fuck around opening doors, man, because you don't know what these assholes have done to the cars. So you break the window, you put it in neutral, you push it away from the, if it's somebody you like's house, right? Like, if it's some farmer, like, he didn't do shit, like, he's, you know, he's not in the middle of this. If it's some asshole, like, I'll push it into the fucking house and let the whole fucking thing go up. But, you know, we push it away from the house, and then you just pop that thermite grenade. You just throw it on the dash, and that car will go, dude. Like, the glass will catch fire. It'll burn straight through the fucking dash. That car will be up in flames in like a matter of seconds, dude. It's fucking wild. But we do this to this fucking car. You know, so I got Mr. Fucking, we do the fucking jippy joppy, you know, fucking Chinese parking lot, get situated at this fucking Target, get in here. There's a bunch of fucking, you know, backwoods shit-eating fucking farmer types out here. They obviously ain't up to shit. They don't know nothing. They're all scared as fuck. I got one asshole in a tracksuit and like, all right, you're the lucky winner. Whose fucking car is this? Nobody fucking knows. All right, this car's getting fucking torched. Crack the windows out of the fucking thing, push it away from the house. And now, like, I'm pushing this thing, right? And I'm reaching in there to pop the parking brake. Before I could do it, like, this, one of the new guys is like too excited. And he like, woohoo, like throws that fucking grenade in there before I can get it popped. And I'm like, shit. And I'm like, pull my hand out of there. But now this fucking car is like, like rolling into the fucking road. So now, how we got all Chinese parking lotted outside of this fucking house trying to get Carlos the Jackal or whatever. Now it's even more fucked up because there's a fucking flaming car in the middle of the fucking street, and everybody's got to try to navigate around that, which is funny, you know, except if you consider that, like, well, shit, man, if somebody comes over the hill, you know, shooting at you, and now you got to try to unfuck this situation, and you're like, dude, this is what professional looks like? This is what tip of the spear looks like? Yes, it is. So to circle jerk back to Luigi the Adjuster, getting spun up and doing the thing right in front of the door, right in front of an eyewitness, is this professional? It's not preferred, but is it possible? It's entirely possible. It's 1,000 shades of possible. It's the kind of stupidity that I've seen become possible more than once. So, yeah, possible. Yeah, that's not the fucking make or break deal to me. Looking at what's come out since then, though. So the way this shit went down, like, you've seen the fucking video. You probably heard, you know, whatever they put out, that, like, the guy came in on a bus, stayed at a hostel, had a stolen ID, rolled out of the Starbucks from across the street, came up behind this dude, zap, had to cycle his weapon a few times to get it to go off right, hit the guy twice, once in the leg, once in the back, and then once in the sidewalk, and then made his way through Central Park on a bicycle, and then got the fuck out of town. So, in all, not a bad piece of work. Shitty shooting, but, you know, don't need to get into that right now. So, what apparently happened then was he got onto another bus and was moving through Pennsylvania, and he was in Altoona, Pennsylvania at a McDonald's. I guess the bus had stopped outside this whatever the fuck, you know, there's some little place in there, happened to be a McDonald's. So he went in there and was using the Wi-Fi, but had at the time a backpack, and I don't know it's the same backpack. I don't know why it would be a different backpack. Like, why would you change out backpacks but keep all that shit, right? Like, haha, they'll never catch me now, you know, unless they look in your fucking backpack, in which case you're dicked, right? So he's on this bus, it stops near this McDonald's. He goes in the McDonald's, I guess, gets something to eat, is using their Wi-Fi. Some old woman, allegedly, some old woman sees him in the place. Bunny Ears recognizes him and says, I think that's that fucking guy. and calls the fuzz. They show up, roll the guy up, and surprise, surprise, he's got a manifesto and the weapon and a bunch of fake IDs and a bunch of cash and some foreign currency as well. And haha, what a jackpot. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude, with this broke ass shit. So here's where, to me, the big fucking smoking gun is that they showed the fucking guy's ID, the fake ID from New Jersey that they said is the one that he used in this hostel and that he presented to the cops when they rolled him up. This fucking ID is this guy, all right? It was like Robert Rosario or some kind of shit like this, but you could look for an image of it. I'll see if I can find it, put it in the chat. But it is this guy. It's not a guy that looks kind of like him. It's not a guy that's like, oh, at a glance, if you weren't really paying attention. Like, you look at the picture of this kid after they rolled him up and, like mugshotted him, and then you look at this ID, it's the same fucking guy. And there's some definite issues with the unibrow situation. Now, maybe there was a situation where it was a different dude in, I don't know where the picture's from, the hostel or the what do you call it, the fucking Starbucks. But there's the picture of, the guy that's alleged to be the shooter, the guy that they rolled up. And that looks like it could be the guy that they've got a picture of smiling, like flirting with the waitress type shit. But there's another picture of another guy, wearing the different color jacket, different color backpack, still has a mask up, but doesn't have a unibrow. And they're saying, oh, this is the guy. And I'm like, I don't fucking know about that. This don't look the same to me. So I kind of want to go back and look, because I can't remember at this point which one had the white backpack. I want to think it was the guy without the unibrow that had the white backpack and the black jacket, like the guy in the video where he's shooting. If that's the case, then I would say that's a dead giveaway that, like, this was the guy that did the shooting. This is a guy that is in the fucking wind, or probably, I don't know in what capacity this guy did the fucking thing. But the guy in that fucking ID looks exactly like the guy that you're parading and saying, we caught fucking Luigi the Adjuster, and here he fucking is. Something fucking smells wrong, dude. And now when they get the kid downtown, he says that cash, I don't know where the fuck that cash came from, because the cash says that he's a flight risk. All right. I don't think it said he had a passport, but it did say that he had a bunch of cash. And then from what I see anyway, that he also said that, like, yeah, that cash ain't mine. They planted that on me. So he said all the other shit is his. And I don't know, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Like, it's a lot to get your head around. Like, I can't tell who's butt fucking who around here. Because there was also some story that, like, this, like, I guess the whole story is that, like, this kid's mom got fucked up. The insurance fucked her around. The doctors fucked her around. Like, she had like a $6,000 cap on her deductible or some shit. So, like, you got to pay $6,000 before we start covering everything. But that took most of the year, and then the doctor was like, hey, I'm going on fucking vacation, and I'll see you next year when your fucking cap resets, when your deductible resets. So fucked them around that way. But then I got to ask myself, like, well, this kid is from a prominent family, a master's at an Ivy League school. He's got $6,000. Like, don't tell me these motherfuckers don't have $6,000. I know better than this. But just the same, the story is that the insurance fucked her around, and he's listening to his mom suffering every night, and then he ended up getting his back fucked up. I don't know how that happened exactly, if he got hurt or some shit, car crash, I don't know. But, then he got fucked up, and he was getting fucked around, so he decided, well, I'm going to hammer this fucking guy, this United Healthcare guy. I don't know, I want to say, like, the Q-tard level story that came out. I don't have visibility on whether any of this shit is true at all. This could be complete bullshit. I don't know. But the Q-tard level shit is that when United Healthcare, I guess they did have a data breach at one point, and they had called in Palo Alto. I don't know the name of the company. Palo Alto something. Palo Alto Software, Palo Alto Services, Palo Alto Unfuck Your Computer, or whatever the hell. But they went to this Palo Alto company to straighten out this data breach situation. The story is that this Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, leaked that to Nancy Pelosi's husband. And the day before that deal came out, they bought a metric fuck ton of this company so that when the deal came out, they made a shit ton of money on it. The story continues that he was set to testify in some capacity as to whether or not he leaked this, whether or not they profited, whatever the fuck. So that is, I get, if, assuming that's true, assuming that's how it went down, that would be kind of a way that, like, yeah, we can't have that coming out. But if I'm being straight with you, it's like, who gives a shit? Because these people do this shit all the time anyways, right? I mean, it's a fucking running gag that, like, yeah, they all do insider trading. How the fuck do you think they're worth a few $100 million on, like, what is it, like a $200,000 a year salary or some shit? How the fuck do you think they get? Everybody knows they do this shit. So I guess my question then would be like, all right, it's going to get found out that you're doing insider trading. Okay, like, what's the downside there? Like, everybody knows that anyway. So everybody knows that. But instead of that, one, you're going to put yourself potentially on the hook for conspiracy to commit murder. But moreover, the way that you appear to have done it, I mean, and again, this is assuming any of this shit is connected. The way that you're doing it kind of demonstrates a connection to a network of people who could do this shit, right? Because, like, dude, I didn't work in, like, extrajudicial killings or any shit like that. But even having been connected to, like, the special ops scene, and maybe unknowingly, I'm probably one or two people removed from people who do that kind of shit. But I wouldn't know who to call today to, like, holy fuck, something got really fucking wacky. I need some guys to help me straighten out a problem. I wouldn't know who the fuck to call. Like, or even if I'm going to do it myself, like, hey, I need somebody to give me a spot to stay while I do this thing. What are you doing? Oh, I can't say. I think just about everybody I know would be like, man, I got a lot of shit going. Don't come here with some weird shit, man. I can't right now. So I don't know. Who the fuck would I call? Like, hey, man, I need you to be standing at the end of this alley with, like, a backpack with some fresh clothes. I think everybody, maybe a handful of people will be like, okay. They would want answers later, and they would want to be made right later. Like, dude, I know I just did something shitty. I'm going to want to get straightened out for this. I don't know anybody that would be like, yeah, I can do that today. Yeah, I can get you a fake ID. Yeah, I can get you a 3D printed fucking suppressor. I don't know nothing about that. I have seen, I haven't tried it out, and it could be complete bullshit too. I have seen some stuff where it's like, what do they call it? Like solvent traps, where it's like, what do you call it? Like, you're cleaning your weapon and you're going to dump some solvent and shit in there, but you don't want it to run out of the barrel and get all over the fucking place. So you got, like, this deal that screws onto the end of your barrel. And the idea that it's like, you're saying it's this to catch this solvent shit, but it's actually a suppressor. If you, I don't know what, modify it some kind of way. I don't know nothing about that. I don't completely buy that. I think that's horsecock, basically. I think that's fucking jackalope stories. I've seen other ones where it was like some kind of shit with a, what do you call it? Like an oil filter. But again, I'm like, how? And even if you got a fucking oil filter screwed onto the end of your pistol or whatever, how the fuck are you going to aim? I could see this being stupid. I think this is urban legend type shit. Maybe there's, I don't know, dude. Maybe there's some kind of way out there. If you know, don't put it in the chat. I don't need some kind of weird shit coming down the pipe of like, hey, what the fuck are you trying to do over here, Coffee? Like, I'm not trying to do fucking nothing. All I'm saying is that this guy showed up with a fake ID and a can. I don't know where to get any of that shit. I mean, I have my own ID, right? Obviously. But I mean, apart from like on the level, you know, if a guy can produce this shit or come up with this shit, I mean, you probably got, you know, how do you fucking have these resources, guy? And like nobody else, and you're just like this amateur dipshit. You're an amateur dipshit in a lot of pain and trying to deal with your mom and the insurance and the doctors all at the same time and keep the lights on through whatever fucking job you're doing, you know, with your master's degree and, you know, pay student loans and all this shit. And somehow you're figuring out how to 3D print all this other shit. This is a hard fucking, the more I think about it, right? It's a hard fucking story to buy. So again, I guess my inclination is to say that this seems like a bullshit story. It's a very just so story. They're like, yeah, I don't know, man. This guy in this other picture, yeah, he's got the backpack and the jacket, but like he don't have the unibrow. He grew it out though, and he changed jackets. And then we caught him at McDonald's. What? It's fucking easy, right? Where do you get the fucking can and the ID? Don't worry about that. That's bullshit. Don't worry. Let's look at something else. Let's talk about something else, right? So, I don't fucking know, man. Like always, I don't fucking know. But, I want to say it's just one more distraction from all the other weird shit that's going on. I guess Christopher Wray just stepped down, fucked off, whatever, as head of the FBI. And there's a lot of motherfuckers are dipping out, man. So, like, I think Adam Schiff is cutting away. Christopher Wray is cutting away. A bunch of people are ducking out. And then there's a bunch of preemptive pardons and clemency fucking deals coming down from the White House. I guess there's a bunch of Chinese motherfuckers, like Chinese nationals, like, oh, yeah, espionage, possession of child porn. Like, yeah, we're going to, never mind about that, man. Let's just start with a fresh slate. Let's get the fuck out of here, right? Dude, I can't. It's like, what the fuck clown world am I living in? And, you look at any of these things and you want to be like, like fuckers will say, like, oh, don't look at that. That's a distraction from this thing over here. And, dude, really at this point, I almost feel like the distraction is just the sheer volume of shit going on. I mean, between Chinese agents and pedos and Hebrews being allotted power that they never should have had in the first fucking place, I can't keep track of how much silly shit. It's just the sheer volume of stupidity. Coupled with, and I haven't seen further on this, all I saw was a tweet, was that I guess there was some message that Patriot Front is ceasing operations the same day that Christopher Wray cuts away. I don't know about that. Hey, I don't know. I don't personally know Thomas Rousseau at all. Like, I don't think I've ever met him. I don't believe I've met anybody associated with Patriot Front, so I don't know, for sure one way or the other. I do know that there was a dox situation that went down, I want to say a year and change, maybe 2 years ago, where there's like a lot of dudes getting sucked into like being on camera, giving their name, this kind of shit. Man, in that sense, they tried to say like, oh, it's just one guy that got in here and started hustling. Bro, when it goes down like that, man, you can't cut away soon enough. And if you're in charge of an operation like that, I mean, again, it's the what's the word for it? The incongruency, all right? I mean, you got this Patriot Front thing, and dudes are real fucking disciplined about not getting out there getting in fights, about staying the fuck quiet when they're doing their little demonstrations. They march in a straight line. They don't do anything crazy. They don't break anything. They don't get in any fights. They don't respond to people. They just walk. They stand still. This Thomas Rousseau guy with the hat, he says something kind of inane that doesn't really seem to mean anything. They all haul ass. They get in U-Haul trucks. And for some reason, nobody gets a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt, right? Or not being in a seat or being in the back of a cargo vehicle. Nobody gets hit for that. But somehow, the discipline starts to lapse when you're back at the ranch or you're just out there hanging around and now somebody's got a camera out. Like, where's the fucking discipline? Like, motherfucker. Like, even, when I was still in the military, it was still like... and you're government backed, for fuck's sake, right? Like, who in their right mind is going to be like, yeah, I'm going to sneak into this base of special ops motherfuckers and start fucking around. And I mean, you're going to get fucking clipped immediately. But the rule was still like no names, no fucking pictures. Out at a restaurant, no names, no pictures. Somebody rolls up and starts fucking snapping photos. Oh my God, you guys look so cool. Can we have a picture? No, bitch, you can fuck off. All right? No fucking pictures. So when I see this kind of shit going on with a dissident movement, I mean, I had to think at the time that like, hey guy, what kind of fucking ship are you running over here? Guys are out here like, hey, my name's Joe Smith. Hey man, what's your name, bro? Like, really, like, let's do away with the fucking did it. Yeah, nice try, Fed. Why don't you put your fucking head in this car door? Let me help you out, right? With the fucking bullshit you're asking. Put your fucking camera away. I'm going to feed it to you. All right. What kind of operation are you running here, man? I mean, I can't see how in any way other than some kind of fucking mudsuck Fed op that somebody allows this kind of shit to continue and stays in charge and is like, oh yeah, sometimes shit happens. But now they're finally closing up shop, coincidentally, on the same day that the head of the FBI is cutting away. Also coincidentally, at the same time as they're coming out with, like, they finally figured out that, oh yeah, as it turns out, I guess the FBI had 26 bunny ears informants on the ground inside the denied areas during the January 6th thing, right? So January 6th, 2020, when everybody was like, oh my God, these right-wing psychopaths are storming the Capitol and walking calmly down the carpet and not going behind the ropes and not touching anything and this kind of shit. Like, yeah, wow, they're fucking nuts. But the story was that, like, yeah, these people just, you crossed a fucking line, bro, and broke stuff or didn't break stuff. You crossed a line, you got to pay, and it was totally unprovoked, and somehow you got through those magnetic doors, and somehow none of those cops stopped you, and somehow none of those unarmed national security people got cut loose to offer any kind of help until way, way fucking later. But now it's also coming out that, like, yeah, there were 26 of these motherfuckers inside the denied area. So what I wanted to specify here with this is, one, like, this should have not taken, if it takes you this long to figure out who you had out there, you're already pretty fucked up and somebody's head needs to roll because, again, what kind of ship are you running here? But two, I wanted to differentiate on, and you could say it's a technical thing, but it's not actually a technical thing. It's kind of, within government, it is a big fucking deal. So when they say informants, all right, there's some very ticky-tack shit that goes on when you start calling people informants or sources or agents or whatever. So if you look at CIA does not have, within CIA, does not have agents. The people that go hang out in Langley, Virginia, the people that put tinfoils over their windows, the people that have 9 different names, those people are not agents. Those people are officers. They are officers as part of that agency. An agent is someone who acts on behalf of. So, like, that's the kind of technical term. And again, like, it could not matter to me and you, but just like satanic pedophiles, what me and you think isn't what's fucking important. It's what these idiots think. So an agent is someone in government speak who acts on behalf of. So when a CIA officer goes to, like, fucking Pakistan or whatever, and there's Jojo the goat herder over there, and he's going to give this guy the equivalent of $10 to go put dynamite on the train tracks, all right, he's acting as an agent. When he's going to pay, Yuri Shmetselsnov to go and use his fucking pocket camera to take pictures of all these documents, all right, that guy is doing it as an agent. He's acting on behalf of, because this guy, the officer, cannot actually go and do these things himself. He'll get rolled up, or it's an act of war, or this kind of shit. If he gets this other guy to do it, then it's either espionage or sabotage or revolution or any of this kind of shit. So any of this shit, like these color revolutions you see standing up, or like this revolution that went down in Syria, what do you fucking think? Those people just up and did that shit themselves? No, they are agents. They are acting on behalf of. They're acting on behalf of CIA. They're acting on behalf of Mossad. So, again, agent. Kind of a differentiating thing there now. When you say there's differentiation between, like, agent and informer and source. So when you say source, this is somebody that is paid. Like, this somebody is somebody that you have, like, put your label on. Like, this person belongs to me now, and they're doing what I ask them to do. So you can say, like, you're a CIA officer, and you say, hey, Jojo the goat herder, you're my source. And they have an understanding that, like, I do what this guy says, and he, whatever, gives me fucking money, or he brings me a cow, or whatever the fuck. But he knows what he's doing and who he's doing it for. All right. Sometimes there's obviously trick fuckery in terms of, like, I'm asking you to do this, but I actually want to know about that, whatever the fuck. But you know who's asking you, and you know that you're kind of on the hook for it, you're going to get something for it. There's like very much a contract, like an employee-employer agreement there. That's a source. An informant, this can be any fucking balloon head. This could be like, just like we're talking about the Patriot Front thing. If it really was a deal where like, maybe it's some hot girl that's like, oh my God, those guys seem so cool. I wish I could know what they look like behind those masks. And some guy wants to be a cool guy and is like, fuck, man, these guys trust me. I'll show you, man. I'll give you like the inside scoop, baby. Maybe just slice me off a piece of that pussy. I'll show you all this shit. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just a dumb shit. He's an unwitting informant. He's informing someone. He doesn't know who or why. He doesn't have any expectation of getting anything for it. He's just giving information, hence informant. So what has happened here when the FBI says we have informants, all right, this is fucking bullshit. All right, because what you're telling me here, and again, maybe in law enforcement it's different because I know they say they have like their little CI, confidential informant thing, and I can't speak to the technicalities of how is that the same, how is that different, but I will say that what it appears they have done here is tried to trim this down to say that these are like the lowest ranking, like lowest possible wazoo. Maybe they're just people that voluntarily told us stuff. Maybe there are people that like we just knew a guy who knew a guy and this guy happened to talk, and so that makes him sort of, I guess, technically an informant. But if we see everything that went on, if we look at everything that went on, what we know for sure is that there were motherfuckers pimping and egging and provoking and, hey, let's go over here. Hey, come on, everybody. We're going over there. Hey, let's go down this fucking hallway. Hey, grab that shit. Fuck that guy. Throw that thing. All right, these people were initiating action. They were provoking this shit and making it go down, and they were doing it knowingly and doing it knowing who they worked for. And there was at least that one motherfucker, and I can't remember exactly what his deal was, that little fucker with the little goatee that testified in there like he was a real cool motherfucker. And that guy, he's a fucking employee. So this guy is not an informant. He's not an agent. He's a fucking officer. He is their first line fucking guy. And yet somehow he is out there getting you, person on the ground on January 6th, to do shit that they all know is going to get you landed in fucking solitary, get you beat by fucking African contractors that they bring in just to fuck with you. All right. So once again, man, like the mustard is starting to come off the hot dog. And if this is what they're willing to cop to now, for my money, what I think they're doing is like, this is what they're willing to cop to now. If we kind of admit to something now, admit to the lowest possible thing now, which is, informants, which is basically nothing, just some shithead. Yeah, informants. Yeah, we had informants. We already said that. No, motherfucker. When this all comes out, what I think is going to come out is that, no, man, you didn't have informants. You had sources, you had paid assets, you had federal officers in there fucking around, getting regular people to do shit they would not have otherwise have done, knowing that they're going to get their asses landed in solitary for it. I want to see how that plays out, but that's where I think we're at on this fucking thing. All right, so to wrap it up, I wanted to hit on this Lily Phillips situation. If you don't know what this is like something of a, I don't know what you'd even call it, a memeism going around. Long and short, this Brit-Bong chick, this Lily Phillips, this, how does one say, mattress actress, just did, I don't think it's any kind of record, I don't believe, but for whatever reason, did some kind of thing where she fucked 100 dudes in a day. And everybody's kind of taking note of it because there's like a what do you say, like a post-op, like a post-game show. And they're like, so how you feeling? And she's like, it became a bit, mechanical, if I'm being honest. It's not for the weak, girls. And I'm like, what the fuck? But what's, I guess off the top is like straight away, it seems simple enough to just say like, yeah, this is what whores do. Like left to their devices, unsavory women will do unsavory shit. But I can't look at this and not think that there's got to be more to this. That like, this is not about fucking. This is something much, much else. For fuck's sake, man. Yeah, I mean, you ever do that shit where, like, I don't know, if you were, you know, whatever, you're a teenage dude and you're like chasing ass is your full-time schedule. Like, that's what I am here for. I'm about chasing this ass. And that's what you're into. Or maybe you just got married and you're like, I'm going to put heavy miles on, man. And you go at it like, you go and you chase your woman down like once, twice, 3 times, you know, in a day or something. And it's like, all right, after a while, you know, all right, this isn't as cool. Like, I'm just doing this like compulsively. This is not fun per se no more, right? This is not, you know, as good as, you know, minute 5. You're like, all right, this kind of fucking starts to suck. What do you think by like 4 times, 5 times, 7 times, 10 times, 15, you know, and not like you're unloading every time, but I'm talking about like, I don't know. It seems like a lot. It seems like a lot. I'll say that, you know, and by the time, I don't know, like, obviously I'm not watching this shit and I don't know the details, but I don't know, what are you getting, like, 1, 2, 3 pumps, or is this to completion, or what? And if it's anything more than a couple of minutes, even if it's 5 minutes, let's say, that's 500 minutes. That's, I mean, fuck, that's a lot, dude. Oh, that's like 8 hours. That's over 8 hours of fucking. There's not a way that that's enjoyable. There's not a way that you're like, oh, what a great time. Yeah, I'm into this. Yeah, this is about something else, man. And I knew, I mean, just by virtue of my previous work, and I talked about it before, that there's this kind of land of broken toys thing where operators and strippers, you'll find yourself kind of on the same wavelength a little bit, because for some reason there's this sense of not being good enough and you need to do X, Y, and Z and go what you perceive as this extra mile. Otherwise, you know, what the fuck good are you, right? But I think what we're talking about here, like, this is past that. Maybe where you've done what you thought was the extra mile. Like, maybe at some point she got convinced that being fuckable is the only thing that you're good for. But then in some form or fashion got it into her head that, like, even that is not good enough. And this is like self-destruct mode. Like, fine, if you don't want it, I will destroy it. And that's what this appears to be. This is not about affection. This is not about even a spectacle, because this is just grotesque. This is like watching somebody saw off their own arm. Like, this is way too fucking far. And I mean, you look at her, I mean, this is not a happy place, right? Like, she's like, there's little interview like that, it's floating around, but she's, you know, got a few things to say. This does not appear to have been an enjoyable gig. Like, this was self-destruct mode. Like, you're fucking punishing yourself for something. I don't know what the fuck, I don't know, you know, what the story is, and I'm not going to say I could fucking fix her, because I don't think something that fucking broke is getting repaired. Like, this is the kind of thing that's like, this ends one fucking way. You know, this ends the long way, where a lot of substance abuse, a lot of rehab, and then finally an OD, or just, you know, a step off the edge of something tall. And there's not a way I see this, you know, ending, what the fuck, guy, ending well. But to sort of put a cherry on top of that, now, in spite of all that, apparently she's doing a thing in January 2025 where she's going to do 1,000. So I don't know what the logic is there. Like, if 100 sucked, what is 1,000 going to do? Like, is this, maybe it's almost like some kind of a thing to like, see, it don't bother me. Like, you had something happen to you that really fucking bothered you, and you're like, you know what, I'll just keep fucking doing it until it doesn't bother me, and then that thing that has really fucking damaged me is not going to be such a big deal no more. I think there is a component of that with people in general. I think people do that. But maybe, you know, and I don't know this broad at all, maybe she's just fucked up. I don't know. The other side of this, though, for my money, is these fucking dudes. Like, if you're dude 96, 97, 98, like, what the fuck is your story, guy? Like, you can beat off, you know, they have that still. I don't think it costs anything. I mean, it's not a way to run a railroad, friend. You know, where your guy 96, 97, 98, guy 100, like, what? in the wide world of sports are you fucking doing, man? I mean, you're definitely not breaking new ground here. And I don't know, dude. I can't fucking see it. I don't know, maybe there's some kind of component of a motherfucker that is so devoid of pussy that just absolutely cannot, for any purpose under the sun, get any kind of ass in any way, shape, or form. And because of this, it's better to be guy 100, or, you know, come January, better to be guy 836 than to have nothing. If that's your logic, that don't really follow to me. But if that is the case, and I'm sure out of 1,000 motherfuckers, I'm sure that at least one of them is like so. I was looking and I saw along with that meme where it was saying like, yeah, she's gonna do like 1,000 fucking dudes. I think I saw it on Telegram that they had like a website, and their deal was like, send a copy of your ID and a picture of you holding your ID. So I'm guessing, I don't know how one would guess, like you're gonna rule out criminals, or I don't know who the fuck would you? Apparently you don't really rule out anyone. Apparently pretty much anybody is good to go. But I'm guessing like if your option is like nothing or this, I don't know, I still want to say probably nothing is better than this. I think I did see a thing where like she came down like she got the herp and the clap and something fucking else, like, you know, this was not a winning event. This was not an upside deal for the young Brit-Bong girl. So I don't know how you do that, and then you decide like, yeah, maybe 1,000 would be better than that, you know, so let's do that. And then to step it up to 1,000, now you got 1,000 fucking screwballs that are gonna get in here and do this thing as well. I don't see it, dude. I missed a meeting. This ride fucking sucks. I want to get off. not in the 863 guy kind of a way. Doing a 1001 way. That's fuck, what a downer. Anyway, I don't know what else to make of that. I mean, what else can you make of that? Other than this is what you fucking get, man. Absolute Weimar conditions. So, I mean, we are absolute peak fucking Weimar. When topic of the day is like some otherwise reasonable looking, half intelligent sounding, because sometimes half intelligent is all you're going to get, but half intelligent sounding Brit-Bong chick is like, yeah, how about 1,000 and, you know, 1,100 between last year and this year at least, right? That's not reasonable. Peak fucking Weimar, dude. And who do we have to thank for this? Like, what are the conditions that lead to this? Because this is the kind of shit that doesn't come out of nowhere. Like, you're definitely one-upping something. So, I mean, how does this shit come about? How does this shit become de rigueur? How does this shit become acceptable? And for my money, we all know how it becomes acceptable. Because let people do what they want to do. Oh my God, let people do things. And I, for one, have seen enough, man. I have seen a fucking enough. And I want the ride to stop. So when people call you a fascist, or people say, hey, you're being a fucking fascist. Yes, I fucking am. Because at this point, for my money, there is really no let people do what they want, let people enjoy themselves, people are minding their business, two consenting adults, or any of this shit. Because none of this shit, like this 1,001 way, comes about on its own. None of this comes about with some level of coercion. None of this shit comes about with somebody getting you into this shit. And nobody's getting anybody into anything without first being that person that just wanted to be left alone. I'm not bothering anyone. Oh my God, why do you gotta be this fucking way? I have to be this way because you're being that way. So enough is a fucking enough, man. And honestly, at this point, I don't know where you fucking even go from here. I mean, the entire world has just become this unsavory fucking mess, and I'm like holding out hope that it's a sad state of fucking affairs when you got to hold out hope for fucking Trump. Like maybe this fucking guy, maybe the guy with the absolute losing record, the guy that's obviously not on your fucking side, the guy for whom you are a last fucking priority. Maybe this guy will in some way, shape, or form be the one that scares the shit out of the Hebrews enough to make them slip up to a degree that they put their collective necks in the noose and the world can go back to normal. I'm not holding out much hope. I mean, I guess if I was holding out for anything, I'd have to say I'm holding out that these clowns will become so strong, that they will become so powerful that everybody else will look at it and say, you know what, I got nothing left to fucking lose. Fuck it, man. New Jersey IDs and bicycles for all. I'm here to adjust your insurance. But with that, man, I guess I'm just pulling up to the gym, so I think I'm going to cruise inside and see if I can't get a little bit of something loosely resembling a workout. I'll tell you, I've been doing that prison-style half-rep type shit, and I don't like to say things work well, but I think this does actually work pretty well. It appears to be a situation where you're maintaining stress on that muscle through that particular range of motion, and you're stretching out that time under tension, and you're just getting blood pumped in there, and it's doing me a solid. So I'm going to get in here and see if I can get a little taste. As for you, only a few shopping days left until New Year, new mental illness, and we'll have to start the whole shit show over again. Hopefully not in solitary this time. Otherwise, if you dig this shit, you know where you can find it. And if you want to get on the chat, get the little the coffee break that I'm putting out every once in a while. It's t.me/theabusehour, has accompanying chat. And if you want to hit me up on the gram, where I still somehow have an account, I haven't been hammered just yet. And fucking Zuckerberg says he wants to be a libertarian, but, you know, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of hope. I think I'll probably get the axe soon enough. But anyways, I'm on there at niceguy.coffee. So until next time, man, I hope you semi-enjoyed episode 100. And if not, I hope you feel slightly abused over the whole thing. But until we get together again, keep your eyes on the horizon. Keep your neck out of the noose. I have been Coffee, and these are my takes.